The Interrobang podcast is brought to you by Simply Financial. Flex on your Axe Bank with up to $700 from Simply Financial. Visit simply.com today. Conditions apply.
Hello and welcome to the Red Couch Podcast. I am your host, Ben Harrietha. This week on the podcast, it's our diversity episode. And to chat about that with me, I have London drag queen, Galaxy Rose. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, glad you could come up. So could you just introduce yourself to the viewers and anyone that doesn't know you?
Sure. My name is Galaxy Rose. I'm a drag performer here in London, Ontario. I do lots of things around. That's all I've got for you.
Perfect.
Yep.
I mean, hey, short and sweet. That's what we like to hear. So, like, how'd you get into drag?
I got into drag. It was, I think, my 27th birthday. I decided that I was just going to do something different, and it kind of took off from there. And now I'm just doing it. I can't get out of it. There's no escape.
So, how long have you been doing it?
I've been doing it for about 4.5 years now.
Awesome. And like, was it just like something, like, was it a community that you were interested in beforehand, or was it just like, I'm just going to do it, and you just ended up doing it?
Yeah, honestly, like, I had no idea who RuPaul was. Like, I got into it brand spanking new. It was an opportunity for me to get out of my comfort zone and try new things.
Perfect. And I guess this might be a little bit of a broad question, but what do you do as a drag queen? Because I'm not super familiar with the community myself.
Okay, so what do you think I do?
I'm not sure.
You have no.
I have no clue. I'm really I'm bisexual, but I'm really not in touch with that side of the gay community.
Oh, okay.
So I'm very much like person who is into sports and cars and also men, and so I never really got super into drag stuff.
I can relate to one of those things.
Of course.
Well, let's see. I do my own face, so I'm a makeup artist. You have to know how to dance. You have to know how to talk to people. You have to know your banter. I host shows. I sing live. Like, I do everything. My life is just drag and politics constantly.
Drag and politics.
Drag and politics.
The politics part, that sounds like a fun aspect of it.
Well, as a drag performer, you're kind of front and center of your community, right? So you have to speak on important issues. You have to make sure that you're on the cutting edge of what's going on in the world. So yes, politics definitely is a part of it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of hats that goes into, like, being a drag queen.
Absolutely.
Perfect. And I guess on the flip side of that, like, what does a normal day for you look like? If you're performing, if you're not performing, either or.
My days are seldom normal. Nothing about a drag queen's life is normal. Let's see. On my off days, I'm a graphic designer, so that's sort of my day job. And then aside from that, like, weekends and sometimes throughout the week, I'm in drag. I'm just doing this. And that includes, like, drag story time. That includes interviews like this, actually. That also includes, hosting shows. And so I would start my day putting on my face, and that takes about an hour, and then going on and doing what I need to do, doing what I enjoy doing.
Perfect. And speaking of enjoy, is there any, like, specific event that you're like, this is, like, my favorite type of event to do?
I guess my favorite type of event to do is anything that pulls on important issues. So I just did one in Sarnia, and it was their BIPOC show. Mm-hmm. So because it's Black History Month, that was very important. I'm a person of color. So doing anything that is really close to home, that's where I want to be.
Perfect. And I guess, why do you do it? Like, you said that you enjoy it, but, like, why? Like, where does the enjoyment come from?
I do it because I know that people get a lot of joy out of it, and I get to be sort of a blueprint of authentic living, right? I get to be my most authentic self, and I get to be creative. I get to enjoy fashion. I get to do all these things that allow me to be basically as queer as I possibly can be, mm-hmm. and unabashedly. So I enjoy being that blueprint for people because I want to inspire people. I want to give people, something to think about.
Of course. And you spoke about like how being a drag performer, you're at the front of your community. How do you feel about that? Like,
I wasn't exactly expecting it going into drag. Like, I thought, drag is just, putting on an outfit and performing. But I very quickly realized that that's not everything that there is to it. Like, you have to be able to represent your community because you are at the forefront. People notice you. Like, I didn't put all this time not to be noticed. Notice me. But when you're in that spotlight, it's important that you raise awareness to certain issues.
Yeah, to like issues that you care about, especially because it's like you said, people notice you. You have a platform, and so you can take that chance to like speak on things that matter to you.
Exactly.
And how do you feel about the especially recently about the pushback against drag performers and I guess LGBT people, especially emphasis on that T on the whole?
Yes. Well, the Puritans are back. I don't know how that happened. Somebody let them out. It's a lot because now there's new variables whenever you do a show. There's new variables when you do drag story time. You're going to be thinking in the back of your head as you're getting ready, is somebody going to come, and is somebody going to come with malicious intent? So like you fully expect protesters to be there. I have encountered protesters, and you expect that kind of that rhetoric of hate to be there. And that's not something that I used to really think about in the back of my mind. And so this new uprise of hatred and these conflicts are really stifling like what you do. But all in all, you want to do it for, especially if you're doing drag story time, you want to do it for the kids. You want to give them something positive to look forward to and something that's inclusive.
Exactly, because I think what a lot of like the, as you say, the Puritans, what they think that we're like trying to teach people about like sex and stuff. And it's like, no, we're just trying to teach them to be like accepting, inclusive people, right? And it's just frustrating on that regard.
Well, exactly. Like when I'm reading these books are like cute little books. It's like gay penguins, and like it's just stories that people can connect with. And it's important to have those stories because if I had that growing up, then I'd be a different person. It took me years and years, like up until I was 27 and still working on that to really fully accept, my queer self, and to be able to show children that you can be this person without the hatred, without all the confusion and everything. I think that's such a gift, and we need to nurture that.
Exactly. And why do you think it's important that even despite, the risks of these events with people coming in with malicious intent, why do you think it's important that they still happen?
It's important that they still happen because we need to be the louder voices. If we're not the louder voices, then they are. And those are the ones that are dominating the media right now. We don't see as much of, drag queen story time. We don't see, the happy children or the people who are connecting with it. We see the hatred. We see these stories that are being twisted in favor of presenting this opposition. But we really need to be focusing on the love, the connection, and the authenticity behind it.
Exactly. I think the thing for me that I just really wish like people would understand is that most people who are queer are just trying to exist. And it's like, I don't know, my existence is not a political statement.
Exactly. The queer agenda is just to live. That's it.
Yeah.
To live freely and to live peacefully. That's all we really want. Like, we don't want to indoctrinate your children. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, that is not our goal. Our goal is just to show them that they can be who they are, whoever they are. We're not trying to make people gay. These stories are for everyone. It's all about compassion and empathy. It's more about that than it is about the queer agenda. It's just about showing you how to be a decent human being.
No, exactly, because it's we're not trying to shoot gay mind beams at your kids to turn them gay, and we're not putting chemicals in the water or whatever. But it's just existing, and people don't get that. I think it's even in drag, especially, is that you're just trying to express yourself and have fun.
Exactly.
At the end of the day, and these people, you know, they see drag and they think it's like it's, you know, moral panic all over again.
That's exactly it. And it's so unfounded because I think a lot of people just don't understand where it's coming from. They see drag and they think sex. I don't know why they think sex. It doesn't make any sense to me because there's nothing showing, and even when you're drag naked, you are not naked at all. Like there's so many layers that go into this, that just it's an illusion, but it's an illusion that gives you something to look at, something to think about.
Yeah, it's all just colorful and fun. I don't see why people get so upset about this, because it's like, just relax, have a good time, man.
Honestly, I always say that anybody and everybody should try drag just once. Just try it, because it's so freeing and like liberating to be able to just let yourself go, to do what you normally wouldn't do. And when I see people go and get into drag for the first time, it's such a transformative experience for them. No, they might not pursue it as a career, but they really enjoyed that moment where the spotlight was on them. And a lot of people are afraid to take up space in this world. So it's important that we give them that opportunity.
Exactly. And going back to, you know, the unfortunate reality of our situation, with, you know, these people who want to come over to these events and with malicious intent, either protesting or even possibly something even more dangerous, what safety precautions, I guess, are people taking in the community now? So
now we are actually going, because these queer events are not like the most well-funded things, right? So we are actually going out and paying out of pocket so that we have security at these events. We are making sure that no matter what, the kids especially are safe, because the last thing we want is for anyone to be harmed at our events. I was hosting the Wortley Pride event when the incident happened there, and I was devastated because I felt like I was putting my performers and these kids in the path of harm when the assailants came. And it's so important that the kids' experience of queer events are not framed by this hatred or this oppression.
No, exactly, because that's not us.
Exactly. That's not who we are. We're just trying to have a good time. We're just trying to live our lives and live our lives peacefully. And we want to be able to show the children that this can be accomplished. You don't have to be afraid. And the more that they bring these protesters, the more that they push this rhetoric of fear, the more it's going to affect them in the long run. And we just want them to be happy.
No, and
they're
like,
our future, right?
Yeah, they're our future. And I think the worst part too is that like kids are like if you've ever spoken to like a 2-3-year-old, they're like inherently kind little people.
Exactly.
It's like all this stuff, all this like hatred against gay people, trans people, drag performers. It's learned.
Yeah.
It's a taught thing. And it's so frustrating to see, you know, especially when you see these protests against drag and stuff, and you see little kids there holding the signs. They don't know what the signs say most of the time.
Yeah.
It's just their mom or their dad said like, hey, hold this sign. And it's just the worst.
One of the most profound memories, and I think there was a photo of it, of what happened at Wortley Pride, is this little girl, their daughter, screaming in the back of the truck, like crying, like, because she doesn't know what's going on. She doesn't know what's happening. Her father and her mother are out, like, just assaulting the community, but she's in the back of the truck just weeping. And I felt so bad for that child, because that child has to grow up in an environment that fosters hatred.
Yeah. And that's exactly it, is that so many of these environments, it's just gonna turn out more and more hateful people, which is just gonna make the world kind of just a worse place on the whole. And no one wants that. No, that's all we want. And Storytime is just building a foundation of love, acceptance, compassion, and understanding. That's it. That is our base level. And that's the foundation that we should all grow up on. No, yeah. And it's because the more people that are, you know, compassionate and accepting of these people, it's like the sooner that, like, I don't want to call them petty issues, but it just seems like people just disagreeing over stuff that really isn't that big in the grand scheme of things, and we could start focusing on the things that are like actually problems, I guess, and quote problems, if that makes sense.
Exactly. I think they just latched onto this because it was easy. We're an easy target. Queer people are always an easy target. So for them to just latch onto this and create something from nothing, it's just ridiculous. Like these, the protesters that I encountered in Sarnia, they were all dressed from head to toe in black. Their like faces were covered, everything. They actually went out of their way to plan around this. Like, could you imagine getting up in the day, calling up your buddies, being like, yeah, we're all going to wear black, right? and actually planning an outfit around it. Like, they're basically doing what we're doing. That's a whole group number right there. That's what that is.
When you put it that way, it makes it sound like super lame.
Yeah, it's very silly. Like, they actually got together and they planned their day around this. And these are people that came from Toronto. So they drove all the way from Toronto to Sarnia just to stir things up. And they didn't do anything. They were just laughed at.
And that's I guess the positive side of this is that a lot of the time what ends up happening is these people just get laughed at, essentially, because everyone sees them, and for the frankly idiots that they are. So that's I guess a lucky aspect of it. So where can to kind of wrap things up, I guess, a little bit, where can people see you perform next? This will be coming out March 3rd. So I guess at that point,
March 3rd,
if you got anything planned.
I actually think I have a show on March 3rd.
Perfect.
At Lavish. Can I give my socials?
Yeah, of course. Go ahead.
Yeah. You can follow me at Galaxy Rose Official on Instagram, and you'll find out where I am. I have a show coming up at the TAP Center for Creativity on the 25th. We have some headliners coming up, so I go wherever the wind takes me. Like, I just enjoy doing drag, and I enjoy engaging audiences. It brings me so much joy. So wherever I'll be, it's going to be a good time.
Exactly, and that's the goal of drag, is just have a good time, right?
Exactly, and to allow people the experience to have a good time themselves, because some people just don't know how, and we have to show them.
Yeah, I gotta say, every time I've been to an event either hosted by a drag performer or with a drag performer in attendance, it has been the most fun I've had.
It's always fun. We love to push the envelope. We love to give you an experience and something that you'll remember.
Yeah, like we host a bunch of them here at Fanshawe. Yeah. And have you been to any of them?
I have, yes.
Oh, sweet.
Yes.
Which ones?
Well, I was here for like a few. I think there was a couple years. Brooklyn Heights. Like, there's been a few shows that have been through the FSU. So I've been a part of a few of them.
Yeah. How's your experience been with them? I gotta ask, because we're FSU.
I mean, amazing.
Of course.
Yeah, obviously. No, they're always so good. Like, y'all treat us so well, and the setup is always perfect. The lighting is excellent. Like, it's honestly like the best show you want to get into, because you know that whatever videos are going to come out of there, they're going to be good. It's not going to be like, doing a dive bar gig and you get some like blurry photos on someone's Instagram story. Like, no, it's always going to be high quality.
Yeah. So you're always going to, you always go to an FSU show and I'm going to look good in that video the next day.
Exactly.
Perfect. And is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up?
That's very open. Let's see. I just wanted to finish off with like, just be kind, be compassionate, be understanding, be empathic. It's important that we, channel our most humane traits, especially when, we're being oppressed, especially when we're being faced with insecurity and everything. It's important that we continue to be ourselves.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Perfect. So thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate it.
Me.
And thank you guys for listening to another episode of the Red Couch Podcast. As always, you can catch up with every episode on our website or wherever you get your podcast. Pick up your copy of the Interrobang on newsstands now. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And be sure to subscribe to our newsletter to keep up with all things Fanshawe. For the Interrobang, I'm Ben Harrietha.
The Interrobang podcast is brought to you by Simply Financial. Flex on your Axe Bank with up to $700 from Simply Financial. Visit simply.com today. Conditions apply.